Hey there, Chad here. Thanks for joining me. This is Ostranauts, and this is part of my complete beginner's guide to playing Ostranauts. In previous episodes, we have created a character. We went through the station and picked up the tools that we need. We demonstrated how to use some of the kiosks. We got in the ship and we actually flew it to a derelict, and we were getting ready to go ahead and salvage from that ship. But I ran into some problems, and to make a long story short, I have started the character over. So this particular character has never departed the station. Right now he is working diligently at cleaning up his ship and repairing things that are messed up, but his ship is flyable, and we're going to go ahead and do that. So I think I'm going to go ahead and start kind of where that was. Navigation is very important in this game, and I did fly through it. I also did not do a great job docking, so we'll do that stuff again, and then we will start to salvage a ship. One other thing to note is in the previous video I had said that you can often find a salvaging license on one of your first derelicts. Part of the reason I decided to restart this character is I visited a number of derelicts and never found a salvaging license, and it led to a cascading series of problems. Most specifically, the authorities would not leave me alone. They kept coming after me. I couldn't go anywhere without getting boarded and getting fined, and it got to the point that there was nothing I could do. I couldn't find a salvage license to be legal, couldn't afford to buy one anymore because of the fines and the bribes that I was paying, and so I was kind of stuck at that point. So I decided, you know what, the RNG gods are not with me today. I'm going to start this over and see if we get a little bit better roll for the world creation. So we'll see what happens there. That's just a proximity alarm, nothing to worry about. We are still in the station. While I'm on the screen though, I noticed I have this hungry tag, and I am going to show you how you eat food in the game here. It's very, very simple. I have usually used like a forward bin to store food and water. That's what I've done in this case. And we're going to go ahead and open that bin, and I have exactly one piece of food in there. So I'm going to right click on that, and I'm going to hit eat. There's a few other options here, and I honestly don't know what they do or if they make a difference, but I'm going to hit eat. And in just a few seconds, he will no longer be hungry. We'll get a message that says that he ate, he's stuffed, he can't eat anymore. Now he's good to go. So that condition will have gone away at this point. Let's go ahead and find a derelict to fly to. So we'll come over here. The nav panel could use a little bit of attention. We'll do that while we're flying to a derelict though. Now, also in the past, because I did not have a salvaging license at the time, I tried going out to some of the further away derelicts with the idea that the authorities were less likely to come snooping because it was further away. I don't know if there's any credibility to that, but it has worked for me in the past. But since we don't need to worry about that, since I did go ahead and buy that license, I'm going to go ahead and hit one of these closer derelicts, closer to the station. This one's less than 60 kilometers away, so we are going to head over to that. First thing we have to do is undock. And to do that, we hit clamps, and it'll take a second or two, but we'll get a sound. There it is. And I'm hitting S to back away a little bit. Turn off the proximity warning, but if you watch, my velocity is increasing as I tap S. Okay, there we are. We're backing away from the station, and we want to go to this one here. So bearing 216, that's a left turn to get to that, and we'll bring this around to 0. Now, in my previous docking attempt, I kind of blew it. I was able to complete the dock, but it was an awkward one. We're going to make this a lot cleaner. I'm going to show you how to deal with these numbers to make that work better. So we'll be there in a little over 5 minutes. Not a lot of time to do drift maintenance, although one thing we can do is maybe fix the nav panel just so that that's a little cleaner. I don't think it really impacts it as long as it doesn't break, but let's go ahead and just make it nice and pretty. And he's done already. That was quick. All right, so we can go ahead and want to make sure I have the right thing selected. We want to use that. We still have 5 minutes. I did see one other thing we didn't do. I didn't rename the ship. So again, to do that, you have to link your PDA. So that's option 2 there. You click on Nav Station and it will give you some information, and here's where you can rename it. And that's what we're going to do. That'll make it easier for me to spot. We can do other things with the PDA as well, and we'll learn a little bit about that. But for now, let's just do some standard piloting. So our ship is about a third of the way there, maybe. And of course, this guy is going to cut us off. I think we're far enough away we shouldn't have a collision alert, though. We're going to speed up time. Yeah, he passed well clear of us. Okay, so we're only doing 136. That's plenty of time to adjust when time slows back down. I'm going to slow it down here real quick, though, to point out how to make this dock a little cleaner. So I'm going to slow down to 1/4 second, actually, and I'm going to try to bring the bearing around so that it's as close to 0 as I can get it. Of course, 360 is also 0, and so we're only 0.11 degrees off of that here. That's good for me. I'm also going to bring this VCRS down to as close to 0 as I can. -6 is not bad. We'll go with -6. Okay, so with those numbers as close to 0 as I can get them, and us only being 2.5 minutes out, we're going to have a pretty easy dock here. It should be pretty much centered with very little manipulation that needs to occur. So fast forwarding, when it hits 5 kilometers, time will slow down and the proximity alarm will go off. As you can see, we're at 1 time speed. I'm going to hit clear there, and we're going to jump over. And again, you have to tell the ship you want to dock. So you hail the ship. It'll usually be the first one listed. It's the closest one. Initiate uncontrolled docking procedure because nobody's on the ship. And it should tell us that it's good to go, and there we have it. Now, in the previous docking attempt, this thing wasn't even on the screen. It was way off to one of the sides, and I had to bring it into perspective. This one is a lot better because I have those numbers better aligned. Just a little bit of correction to the right. And I am trying to slow down to about 50 when I do this, generally. Find that to be effective. And then once this turns green, I will hit clamps. There it is. We're docked. The docking can take a couple of moments, but once this populates, you're good to go. And it gives you the registration ID, which is the transponder ID of the ship, the name of the ship, and it gives you a rating on the ship. This tells us a little bit about it. This particular ship is in a condition D, which is not good. A is the best. I think it's an A, B, C, D, E kind of scale. 4 tells us how many rooms are on the ship. 4 is a good sized ship. Ours has 1 right now. It just has the airlock. E is the maneuverability of the ship. Larger ships have worse maneuverability. You can get this up to A. What I'm told is that larger ships, it is not uncommon to be unable to get it off of E. And then medium refers to a general categorization of the actual size of the ship. Medium is what our ship is. This one is also medium. So we're probably looking at something similar in size to ours, except it does have 4 rooms. That's interesting. So let's take a look at what we've got here. If we go back to the nav console and we zoom in, first thing we'll see is we see relative sizes of the ships. You can see it's a little bit bigger than us, but then as we get a little closer, we can see kind of an outline of what the ship looks like from above. This is us, and this is them. So it's about twice the size of our ship. This is good. This should have some stuff for us to be able to salvage. We should be able to make just a little bit of money off of this. So I'm going to close that. And we're going to get a couple of dialogues here. Go ahead and read through those at your leisure. But basically, it's introducing you to the idea that you're scavenging. There's 2 screens here, first one and the second one. Okay. Now, what I've done here in getting this all kind of reset, I have this crate here. This is where, until I have a more formal personal area for the crew, this is where I'm going to keep clothing in that. So if I right click on that and open it, this is where our pressure suit will be for now. What I will do to put on the pressure suit, you have to take off what you have now, and that includes the shoes. What I have found to be convenient is putting the shoes in like the hip pocket of the jumpsuit, because that way they're part of the jumpsuit. They don't take up any space in the crate. So then I can come over here and I can then put the pressure suit on. The pressure suit includes shoes. There we go. He's going to put the PDA in the bag. Now I do have the tactical knife, and because there could be pirates, I'm really hoping there aren't. That would really suck to have that happen again. I'm going to carry the knife. Let's see what else we have here. The crate has the tote in it. I think the tote is empty right now. If we right click it and hit 1, yeah, the tote is empty, and that's fine. But I do want my helmet. And I want to point one other thing out. This is the permit that I bought, the salvaging permit. If you right click it, it has an option to read it, and it will show you the time it expires. So it will expire tomorrow at 1:37 p.m., 13:37. So it is the 25th right now. Tomorrow will be the 26th. So we have about 20, we'll call it 22 hours to use this permit. That's plenty of time. We got a lot of time. That's not a problem. But what I wanted to point out is I keep it on my person because that's when you go back to dock, you have to have it in order to use the salvaging station. You physically have to have it on you to use the salvaging desk, the license desk. You have to have it on your person when you do that. So I tend to keep it close. I'm willing to sacrifice that one slot. Don't think we have anything else that we need here, so we're going to go ahead and put the helmet on, and here we go. We're going to board this other ship. Real quick, we have an O2 indicator and a CO2 indicator. The CO2 indicator is the one that will typically go off the most. It's every several minutes we'll have to come back to the ship and pop off our helmet to kind of recycle that. And that is something that this is one of the reasons you want to have an EVA suit. I forgot to get the light. Let's come back and get the light real quick. Won't be able to see anything. So here's the lamp that I purchased. I'm going to right click it and turn it on, and then I'm going to pick it up. And I think he puts it in his hand by default. Yeah, it's in his hand. So now when we go in here, we'll have some light. There we go. Now here is a door, and this door is damaged, so we have to scrap the door in order to get through it. We could repair it and then potentially uninstall it or something. I'm just going to scrap it. That's the fastest of the options here. And I am nowhere near needing doors just yet for my ship. You can sell doors. Often the black market will ask for doors, but it is a hit or miss market, and they are 5 spaces. That's a lot of space to take up on your ship. They do not pay enough for that to be regularly worthwhile. I should speed things up here. There we go. He's through the door. And we can start looking around. Okay, so this is an engineering kind of compartment, it looks like. Here's another door. Yeah, we'll dismantle this one. It doesn't have the welding tool. We're going to put this down on a clip and see if that helps him. Sometimes if his hands are full, he won't do stuff, even though it seems that he should. Now, okay, I thought the clip point allowed the light to work. Still, I guess it doesn't. So we haven't run into anybody. We'll put the knife in his pocket and we'll try this again. So we're going to try to dismantle the door. Well, I guess first we'll cancel the task, and then we will dismantle. There we go. Well, he wants to go repair stuff. I'm not sure why this is occurring. It's not typical to do this. Let's go ahead and, he took his helmet off too. Wow, okay. Put the helmet back on. We're going to come back out here. I'm going to cancel that action. Okay, and then we're going to try this one more time. So we have the door. Dismantle. The battery on, okay, the battery on my welding tool is dead. That's what that's telling me. Feels a little early for that to be the case, but there it is. Okay. Well, the good news is I have extra batteries for that. The welding tool is the Halverson. That is this charger, so we will open that up and hit I, and that opens its inventory. We right-click on the welding tool and hit inventory, and that'll open there. And we just swap them. Now we're good to go. So he should be able to do this now. There we go. Sorry about that. That was a little confusing. I guess he did a little more cleanup on the ship than I realized, and that's why he was using the welder as much as he was. Now my guess is this going to open into open space for the most part, because it looks like, well, maybe not. Okay. No, it's not open space. There's a pump here. There's a rack here. Racks are good. They can be kind of big. This one has scrap aluminum and stuff in it. We will eventually want to gather these kinds of things, but we don't need tons of it just yet. So we're gonna hold off there. Look through the rest of the ship. Now these are bins, just like we had in our bedroom, and we can look in there and find some stuff. Nothing really jumping out at me there. This one's interesting. He has a full pressure suit and it's in pretty good shape. He has a handgun. We're definitely going to take a gun. Both those pouches are empty, so we're going to skip those. This one's not. A little grosser looking, but that's okay. I'm going to go ahead and grab the pressure suit, even though I have one. When you run into pirates and you fight with them, sometimes they can tear your clothing, and that can include destroying your pressure suit. So that's something to consider. Here is a crate, not a lot in it. Amoxicillin. Here's another door to scrap. And there's our CO2 alarm going off. So we're going to step in here real quick, just see what we have. That's the nav station. Okay. I'm going to run back into our ship. And all we need to do is literally take the helmet off, put the helmet back on. That's all we have to do. That will now have cycled, and we can come back out here. If you do that several times in succession, he will eventually get tired. If you leave a little space in between, take the helmet off, hang out in your ship for a few seconds, that tends to help alleviate that. I don't think we're going to be doing enough on this ship to really worry about that in this case, but we do want to see if we can find a reactor. I haven't seen one yet. I just have a feeling there's one here. I don't know for sure, although we are kind of running out of spots. Yeah, you can see stars, so you can kind of see where, there's no stars here. There's some sort of compartment here, or at least flooring. But I don't think we're going to find anything awesome on this one. I thought maybe we would, but we're not going to. So there's no reactor on this, so there's none of that really high-priced stuff. We certainly could grab things like intakes and thrusters and pumps and those things. They definitely sell. They just don't sell for as much. And really what we want to try to do is find some like reactors early on, get a little bit of a nest egg and start paying off our debt. So I think I'm going to pass on those right now. Pretty sure we already looked in those bins, so not a lot happening here. Heaters sell decent. I think we're going to see if we can find another ship, though. I didn't really even see a battery, though. I feel like there's... Okay, here's the batteries. The batteries are in pretty bad shape. That one's ready to fall apart. This one, same. So this is a... This will pump CO2 out of the air, I think is what it is set up to do. Yeah, when it's reversed, it'll pump it out, fill the can. Okay, so we're going to move on to the next one, since there's really not a whole lot to yell about on this one. I really want to just show you a big reactor first, and then see how that works and how much we can sell those for, and then we'll move on. The Howling Semicolon. That's an interesting name. So we should see it physically being bigger on the screen here. Moderately. These could be cargo bays, which will be nice. Could be a lot of stuff on this one. Jumping out of there. And don't forget to put your helmet on. Now I will real quick stow some of this stuff that we picked up before. I don't really have anywhere to put things just yet. I suppose I could have taken some bins out of that other ship, but I just wanted to move on. Let's find some interesting stuff first. But I do want to free up the space where I can. That should do it. Some of these, primarily the grinder, the pry bar you want to take with you. The other things you can come back for if you need them. I'm going to go ahead and carry all my tools with me for now, though. Okay, here we go. Now, I have the weapon with me, and it doesn't look like there's going to be pirates on this ship, but you don't always know right away. They can be in a compartment that's closed off, and when you open it, they rush you. It's something to know. A couple more bins. Okay, we're going to start just taking a heavier look around. Not going to open every last thing. A couple of batteries here. This is where I would suspect a reactor would be, and the fact that there are parts everywhere tells me that it exploded or certainly fell apart. So probably not going to find a reactor on this one. We do have a tank, though, for a reactor. So all hope is not lost, although I'm pretty confident we've already seen where the reactor would have been. Looking at this tank, it's in decent shape. It's not in incredible shape. We're going to uninstall it. It's good enough that we can uninstall it and carry it back to our ship without it blowing up. And when they blow up, they just fall apart. It isn't like it would kill you. At least that's been my experience. We don't want to do that at 1x speed, though. Okay. Once it's uninstalled, you can pick it up and he'll drag it. And then I'm going to just drop it in the corner here. There we go. I'm going to take off the helmet so I don't have to come back as quickly. There is a permit in the wild. And if we look at it, read it, it is old. We wouldn't have been able to use this one. And that's okay. We have a permit. Having more than one doesn't offer any bonus, so we won't take that. I was just going to look and see what else is out here. Here's a corner bin with another one of those tickets. Now, one reason you may want to go ahead and look at these, though, is maybe that's the one I already looked at. It is possible to have a ticket that is newer than yours. No, that's apparently not the one I'd already looked at. So it is possible to have a better ticket, or one that lasts longer, I suppose. Better way to look at it. And that would be a reason you might want to grab it. Save yourself a little bit of effort in having to go and buy another one. Be able to salvage longer on the same $5,000. One other thing I want to try to find is an oxygen tank. I think we already looked at these. Oh, no, we didn't, because I would have grabbed that. So this is a Weber Lance laser torch. This is the famous laser torch. We want one of those. Those are extremely expensive, like $80,000, I think, something like that. And it's an incredibly versatile tool. It replaces several tools in our toolbox. We won't have to carry those around anymore. CO2, I'm not seeing any oxygen tanks. The reason I'm looking for an oxygen tank is we have a pump without a tank on it, and we could just plug in an oxygen tank there for safety. We could also put nitrogen on it. The ship does pressurize with nitrogen as well when necessary, but minimally you have to have oxygen in order to survive. The mixture is kind of handled by the system itself. You don't have to worry about that. It's just a matter of if you have the tanks available or not. This is a CO2 scrubber. It clears the CO2 out of the air, and they do sometimes sell pretty well. I'm going to go ahead and grab this one. It's in reasonable shape, so we should be able to uninstall it and take it back to the ship without too much trouble. pick up and go to the ship. One thing you do have to be careful about, and my CO2 is starting to go off, one thing you have to be careful about when you're placing stuff in your cargo hold is these pump vents can get blocked. If we had put this tank so that it was blocking this, oxygen would not come out of that tank and flow into the cabin. That's important to know when you're placing your cargo. Pop that helmet off, and I probably would have otherwise put it there, but it would block that. And without having a tank over here as well, this is where all the oxygen would come from. We don't want to do that. You do get some warnings that you've maybe done something foolish like that. You'll get messages that you don't feel well. Sick stomach can be one of those messages, but I think the one I saw said you don't feel quite right. I thought that was interesting. I'm like, well, what's that mean? And here's the local authorities scanning us to see if we have a pass. And they will discover that we do, and they will move on. Here's an oxygen tank. It has almost no oxygen in it, but you know what? That's okay. We're going to uninstall it, and we're going to bring it home and reinstall it. So we will pick it up, carry it to here. Take off the old helmet. I will hit 2 for install and tell it to install it there. We now have extra oxygen in case we need it. You can manually swap out tanks. That's perfectly acceptable. When you go to the station, one of the things you can do is replenish all of your supplies, and we will indeed do that. Okay, well, I think we're going to wrap this up. I think we've covered a couple of the little pieces of scavenging. We didn't find any, awesome finds. I think I might try to go to one more ship, see if I can find anything. If I do, I'll add that to the next video. Otherwise, what I think I'll do is go back and show you how you sell this and how to deal with the black market, because we generally are going to want to sell to the black market when we can. Okay, I want to thank you for your time this time, and until next time, fair travels.